Hello, I'm a little bit early. It's 1:02. I pressed the button by mistake. Anyway, welcome as you're assembling. Tuesday's a day when I normally spend time at the farm for a few hours every Tuesday with a group of people, nourishing myself in the soil. There's 3 S's because there's 13 of us work together. Soil, social, and soul. So we work the soil, we chat together, and we nourish our souls. And it's been shown that soil has oh dear. Okay, I hope you're still there. Looks like it might have dropped out. Okay. I could see all of you joining. It's a real shame if trying to reconnect. I might just pause it and try again. Hang on. What? There's a poor connection, love. It's dropped out. Okay. Right, I'll carry on. So this week, Sovereign Earth 8. I'm hoping you're still there. And I can see several of you who've joined and said hello, and lots of love to all of you. Oh yes, there's hearts coming up. So I'm hoping you're still there. So Sovereign Earth number 8, and this week it's about trees. And Sovereign Earth is, I'll just go back to the basic reason I started these broadcasts. In a time of challenge, in a time of crisis, in this time of unfolding change, what are the basics that serve us the best, serve us most well, and particularly what's serving the earth most beautifully? What is it that can serve the earth, sovereign earth? And that's my motivation and my enthusiasm and my passion and my vision is serving the earth. And I think in doing that, we serve ourselves. And also there's a way through this maze of complication and challenge. So I want to just look at the word druid for a moment. And the word druid has a lot to do with trees, and druidry has much to do with trees. And the word druid itself, the start of it, the first part, druid, is the ancient word, Celtic word, Pre-Celtic probably, for oak tree. And the last bit, the wid, druid, wid is Sanskrit for wisdom. So it's the wisdom of the oak. And for me, the wisdom of the oak is a great model of how to live a life. But first of all, a song to the oak, which I often sing at midsummer, at the summer solstice, when the oak is in its prime and is in its fullness and its great beauty. And it goes like this. Oak tree, we honor your wisdom, oak tree. We honor your strength, oak tree. We sing for your beauty, oak tree. We sing for your health, oak tree, oak tree, oak tree, oak tree, oak tree, oak tree. Oak tree, oak tree, oak tree, oak tree, oak tree, oak tree, oak tree. We honor your beauty, oak tree. We honor your strength, oak tree. We sing for your wisdom, oak tree. We sing for your health, oak tree, 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 oak tree. So the oak is a remarkable tree because out of all the trees, it hosts the most life. I think there are well over 500 species of wildlife, of being that inhabit or feed off or interact with the oak tree. By way of comparison, conifers, it's more like between 10 and 20 species. So that gives you a sense of it, 500 plus. And the wonder of the oak for me is that it shares of its copious gifts abundantly and freely and unconditionally. It gives of its leaves, its acorns, its shelter. It's just bounteous in its blessings and just this multitude of interaction and beingness, which I'll come back to in another way in a minute. But I want to share with you, if I may, this beautiful quote from, I think, it was May Sarton who wrote this, but it's something I'd quite like to have read when I part this earth, because this is a model for me of how to live a life. I'd like to believe that when I die, I will have given myself away, like a tree that sows seed every spring and never counts the loss, because it's not a loss. It is adding to future life. It's the tree's way of being, strongly rooted and spilling out its treasures on the wind. And I love that, just as strongly rooted and spilling out its treasures on the wind, and inviting us all to do the same in our short lives, to share our gifts. So trees are remarkable beings, and often, I've sometimes neglected them. I don't walk past and really don't acknowledge the amazing beingness of them, and that's their beauty, their beingness. They're able to stand for centuries in many cases and extol the virtue of beingness. Standing like a tree, with my roots deep down, my branches wide and open, come down the rain, come down the sun, come down the fruit to this heart that is open, 'cause I'm standing like a tree, standing like a tree, standing like a tree, with my roots deep down, my branches wide and open, come down the rain, come down the sun, come down the fruit to this heart that is open, 'cause I'm standing like a tree, standing like a tree, standing like a tree, with my roots deep down, my branches wide and open, come down the rain, come down the sun, come down the fruit to this heart that is open, 'cause I'm standing like a tree, standing like a tree, standing like a tree. So in a few moments, I'd like us to share, or I'd invite you to share with me a tree meditation. Just first, it's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine an art installation that could outdo the remarkable interweaving of trees in something like Wistman's Wood, or the gnarled laurel trees on La Gomera in the Canaries that I remember. So that's, or how could any therapeutic hospital ward, however great and beautiful, how could it outshine or out therapy the bathing in fresh beech leaves in the spring, the beautiful, that delicate green for a wonderful balm and healing. How could one feel less? How could one be more honoured than to walk down an avenue of lime trees and linden trees that grace some of the remarkable houses of this land? And how could any cathedral outdo the magnificence of a 1,000 or several thousand-year-old, even possibly, but a 1,000-year-old yew tree is a remarkable cathedral in its own right. And I have memories of spending a few days inside a yew tree, and a remarkable point in my life. Be for another time, but yeah, the beauty of trees. And yeah, just recalling how as Druids many years ago in the late 97, I think, there was some of you might remember the Newbury bypass and the protests there. And some of us went down and we performed a ceremony around an oak tree, and a beautiful old oak. And it's a little known fact that as a result of that ceremony, the planners and developers changed the route of the bypass to allow that oak to survive. It stands on an island. I think it's the Speen roundabout near Newbury, for anyone interested. That oak tree lives because we performed a ceremony around it. Anyway, I want to just focus now on the healing qualities of trees and the way they intercommunicate, they support each other. A forest can't really survive without the interaction of the trees. And there are wonderful books on the subject. I can only just breeze into this subject and touch on some of the wonderment. But the way trees support each other through their root systems, they interchange nutrients through their leaves. They share a canopy, but they're respectful often. I know they have to sort of compete for light, but there's evidence to show they also respect each other's space. And they look after the sick and nourish them. And it's a remarkable community, and they feel pain and have memory. I mean, I've always felt and known this from birth, and I think our ancestors did, and it's natural to sense the wisdom and the fantastic beauty and spiritual connection of trees. And that's just being discovered anew by science. Anyway, I invite us all to close our eyes. I invite us to close our eyes and to take a deep breath. And to settle into our bodies, and to, in our mind's eye, to now take ourselves to a grove in a forest. So there's a clearing and a grove of trees in a big, huge circle of trees. And you are one of those trees. I am one of those trees. All of us here present in this moment through this medium, connecting in our mind's eye through the remarkable magic of the imagination into being a tree in this moment, in a grove, standing like a tree with my roots deep down, my branches wide and open. Feel your roots deep into the nourishing earth. Feel your branches in the breeze with the sunlight on them. Feel your trunk connecting the canopy of your leaves and branches with your deep rooted roots. Just feeling your presence, the present of your presence. and the beauty of those trees around you. And for the couple of minutes to follow, we share the spaciousness, the beingness, the beauty and the truth of trees. And we honor trees in the fullness of their nature and our connection with them. So we'll just share, and I'll sound these dingers at the beginning and the end. Share this space now together with trees. It's only a brief meditation together, but there's a real beauty and power to coming together in this way. For me, certainly, I can feel it, and this modest honouring of trees that we're sharing, makes a difference. Trees as one of our keys to the future, and certainly we know that when I walk in trees, I am nourished and healed, and there's plenty of evidence of that for real. Doctors are now prescribing walks in the woods in some places. We're reverting to the old medicine, the ancient wisdom of trees. Patients in wards that look out over woods heal much quicker and with less complication than those in wards that look out on brick walls. There's evidence of that. It makes a lot of sense. And it's a great fillip, a great lift, a great pick me up to go for a walk in the woods. I must take my own medicine and do it more. I want to share, if I may, a poem I wrote many years ago now, but 3 or 4 decades ago. I'll just read it. Celebrate tree, celebrity. I bow before your boughs, O mighty tree. I open my heart to your heartwood. I rejoice in the soil of your soul, in the soul of your soil. Each of your leaf veins mirroring and matching the veins in my leaf hand. For I am a human being as well as a human being, and the oak is an A-OK tree. I take my leave of you as leaves take their leave of you, gracefully gently, peacefully, thus taking a leaf out of your own book. So I choose to bark up the wrong tree rather than no tree at all. And if your bark is worse than your bite, then clothe me in your bark and bite me deep in the heartwood of my own longing for you, O sacred tree. Celebrate tree, celebrity. And I think trees are natural celebrities, much better than some of the ones we get on the box. For those who have a box, I don't. Just touching also on how trees figure so deeply and powerfully in our mythology and our past. So in Norse mythology, we know about Odin on the world tree, Yggdrasil, where he hangs for 9 days and nights in order to discover the runes. There's the story of Buddha finding enlightenment by sitting against the Bodhi tree, the wisdom tree. Some years ago, a group of us at a Buddhist retreat enacted the life of Buddha over several days. So we did it a phase a day. And what became really apparent was how much nature, Mother Nature, was the point of his enlightenment was his total immersion in nature and his sitting beneath the Bodhi tree. Many, many other instances of the tree of knowledge, the tree of life, the Kabbalah, and numerous trees, forests of them. So now let's finish with a chant. There's several more tree chants. I'll finish with I am a walking tree, you are a walking tree. I am a walking tree, you are a walking tree. I breathe in what you breathe out, you breathe in what I breathe out. I breathe in what you breathe out, you breathe in what I breathe out. Bringing the light down into the darkest ground. Bringing the light down into the darkest ground. Roots in the earth, head in the sky. Roots in the earth, head in the sky. Releasing the dark side into the light. Releasing the dark side into the light. I am a walking tree, you are a walking tree. I am a walking tree, you are a walking tree. I breathe in what you breathe out, you breathe in what I breathe out. I breathe in what you breathe out, you breathe in what I breathe out. Bringing the light down into the darkest ground. Bringing the light down into the darkest ground. Feet in the earth, head in the sky. Feet on the earth, head in the sky. Releasing the dark side into the light. Releasing the dark side into the light. I am a walking tree. You are a walking tree. I am a walking tree. You are a walking tree. Our great teachers, the trees, our inspirers in times of trouble, even though we do so much damage to them and cut them down at a phenomenal rate. Let us turn to them in these troubled times. When I'm troubled, may I turn to my trees. May we all turn to the trees. May they nourish and aid us in our journey through these times, just like they did our ancestors. So that's Sovereign Earth for this week. I'm thinking of subjects for the future like compassion, the moon, the divine feminine, love. There's loads more. All the things that matter, I think, all the things that truly matter for regenerative, heartfelt underpinning as we go through our lives, the things that really count. So sending my love, sending the wisdom of trees. May we be nourished, may we be blessed. Bye for now.